Good evening. South Australia is on the brink of pulling off a major sporting coup, snatching the MotoGP from Victoria.
Michaela Kamarik has the details. Michaela, the checkered flag has been waved on Phillip Island, and we're now in pole position.
Well, Phillip Island has been the home of the race since 1989, and after more than 3 decades, this year will be its last hosting the global event. A proposal to move the race to Albert Park has been knocked back by the Victorian government, and while it had offered money to keep it at Phillip Island, it simply wasn't enough. 7 News understands the race will move to Adelaide from next year, where it'll be staged on a street circuit, offering fans a unique experience. The Premier was tight-lipped when asked about negotiations this morning.
I've heard a bit of speculation about this that seems to be heating up, but I'm not going to start playing speculative games.
Now, it's devastating news for the man who stole the Grand Prix from us back in the 90s, who sees it as a major win for the Premier.
To think we're not going to see these again, it just breaks my heart. Whatever the cost, what it does to the morale of your community is huge. Stealing this from us, his community will be saying, "Up you, Victoria."
Now, all eyes will be on the Premier tomorrow. 7 News understands an official announcement is imminent. Rosanna?
All right, thank you, Michaela. They're not backing down from their pay fight, but Lyle McEwen nurses and midwives will no longer walk off the job tomorrow.
Jasmine Turlings is there, and Jazz, it means elective surgeries and appointments will go ahead as planned.
Yes, that's right, Will. It follows an urgent meeting with the independent umpire today, who recommended more time to ensure patient safety. Now, the government says the industrial action would have resulted in the cancellation of more than 30 elective surgeries and over 1,000 outpatient appointments. Instead, the walk-off has been rescheduled to 7 a.m. next Thursday.
In between now and next Thursday, there will be arbitration which will occur to make sure whatever form that strike action takes next week, we'll be able to minimise any impact on patients, which I think is good news.
We do think that there's a huge degree of hypocrisy involved because every day of the working week our members are being asked to work short-staffed.
Now, yesterday, the government awarded an automatic 4% pay rise to the sector, but the union is standing firm, demanding a 20% pay rise over 3 years. And time is ticking for the government to reach a pay deal before it enters caretaker mode on Saturday. Otherwise, nurses and midwives will be forced to wait until after the election before they see another pay rise. Rosanna?
All right, thank you, Jazz. 400 jobs are set to go from South Australia's biggest company. Adelaide-based oil and gas producer Santos is shedding 10% of its workforce after reporting a larger than expected drop in profits. Santos employs just shy of 4,000 people right around the country and overseas. It's unclear how many jobs will go in SA.
The final moments of the life of notorious killer Bradley John Murdoch will be aired in court. A coronial inquest will be held in Alice Springs next month into his death. Murdoch died from cancer in July while being treated in palliative care. Police were hoping the man convicted of killing British backpacker Peter Falconio would provide a deathbed confession, but he took his secrets to the grave. Peter Falconio's body has never been found.
7 News can exclusively reveal the arrested grandparent of Gus Lamont is accused of possessing an illegal gun silencer.
Police reporter Hannah Ford joins us live in the studio. Hannah, this is a serious charge.
That's right, Will. This is an aggravated offence, so the maximum penalty is a lengthy stint behind bars. Josie Murray was arrested on Monday after major crime police returned to the homestead near Yunta, where the 4-year-old disappeared almost 5 months ago. She drove herself to the local police station where she was charged with a firearms offence. 7 News can exclusively reveal that charge is 1 count of possession of a sound moderator that fits onto one of her guns. If found guilty, the maximum penalty penalty is a $75,000 fine or 15 years jail time. This offence is unrelated to the disappearance of her grandson and to this incident back in October when a shotgun was allegedly waved at a newspaper reporter at the family homestead. A two-day search of the region near Yunta this week failed to find any new evidence of the 4-year-old, but police have vowed to continue searching.
Nobody wants to see this case solved more than Gus's mum and dad, and the police officers who have been dedicated to the investigation, and every person who was involved in the initial search. There's a strong emotional investment in coming to a resolution for this particular investigation.
Detectives brought in a cadaver dog from interstate to help search new areas, including another family property and the national park, but police say they will be back to the region frequently as this criminal investigation continues.
All right, thank you, Hannah. A 64-year-old woman from Cleve has died in a horror crash at the intersection of the Lincoln Highway and South Coast Road at Tumby Bay. The woman was a passenger in a hatchback which collided with a ute. Her driver was flown to hospital. The man behind the wheel of the ute suffered non-life-threatening injuries. The road remains closed as major crash investigate.
A suspect has been arrested and charged, and police are hunting 2 others over an arson attack on a Payneham business last month. The trio poured petrol throughout the accounting firm on Payneham Road and torched it in the early hours of January 12th. Investigators revealed images of one of the wanted men buying fuel from a service station. The arrested man was injured in the attack.
Adelaide's Old City bus depot is set for a new lease of life as an arts hub. Under a deal done by the state government, the site between Franklin Street and Grote Street is set to be the new home of the ABC, which will be moving from Collinswood. The new complex will also house the State Theatre Company, State Opera and Country Arts SA.
This is a great outcome. ABC Arts close to the central markets.
It'll cost taxpayers $51 million, with construction due to be finished by 2031.
Another 2 young men have been arrested over a violent incident at a McDonald's at Munno-Parra. A group of men entered the store late on Saturday night, allegedly armed with machetes. Witnesses say the group chased 2 men into the toilets, smashing a door as staff scrambled to hide. The arrested men have been charged with affray and property damage.
The Liberals have been splashing cash in the Barossa today, promising to build a new $350 million hospital if they win next month's state election. Labor's focus was on high-rise housing, with the Premier unveiling plans to transform the former Royal Hotel at Kent Town.
In a region long loyal to the Libs, Ashton Hearn was preaching to the converted as she unveiled her latest promise.
We're here today, of course, to talk about the Liberal Party's commitment to building a brand new hospital here in the Barossa Valley.
The 100-bed facility would replace the existing hospitals in Tanunda and Angaston, with Noori Utpa identified as the preferred location.
It is a ringing refrain across regional South Australia that country patients feel that they are being treated as second-class citizens.
A project the Libs say should have happened years ago, accusing the government of dragging its feet.
I genuinely hope they hop on board and provide this investment.
We will have more things to say about health between now and the election date, and I think people can look at our track record.
But for Ashton Hearn, the promise of a new hospital is more than a health policy. It's a strategic play to consolidate support in her own seat of Schubert.
Labor hasn't won Schubert, I think it might have been a long time ago.
We came close in 1940.
Round about the time Nick was born. And then
The Premier and Housing Minister sharing a laugh as they unveiled plans to transform the Royal Hotel in Kent Town. 2 towers will be built, unlocking more than 200 apartments.
This was going to be like.
Fears of increased traffic congestion on North Terrace and Decateville Terrace not dampening Labor's enthusiasm.
This is on a high frequency bus route, and it's also very easy to walk into town. So what you find with these developments around the parklands is people use their car less.
Michaela Kamarik, 7 News.
A man has died in a shocking crash north of Brisbane. Vision has emerged of a truck racing down the Bruce Highway in the wrong direction towards oncoming traffic. The truck is heard colliding with a car, igniting flames and killing a 26-year-old man. The driver of the truck was badly hurt and taken to hospital. Police are trying to work out if any other drivers were involved.
The Home Affairs Minister has told 7 News it's an obligation to issue passports to ISIS brides and their children trying to escape Syria. We can also reveal Australians are among hundreds of ISIS fighters transferred by American forces to Syrian prisons.
Welcoming Australia's 150 newest citizens at a ceremony in Sydney's Bankstown.
Fantastic.
Telling 7 News why he won't welcome 34 other citizens, ISIS brides and their children.
It's an appalling decision that they made. It's created horrific consequences for their children. They should not have made that decision.
Their escape mission turned back by the Syrian military despite new passports issued by the Australian government. Not help, says the minister, but international law.
If anyone's an Australian citizen, then by law there's an obligation to issue them with a passport.
One bride has been slapped with a temporary exclusion order, banned from returning, considered too big a security risk. The others are free to return on their own if they can get out, but could face charges. As the minister faces claims a close supporter, refugee advocate Dr Jamal Rifi, is trying to help the ISIS brides return.
Why is Tony Burke's political fundraiser actually on the ground helping this cohort make their way to Australia? Something stinks.
Bridget McKenzie has a habit of making things up.
He says he hasn't spoken to Dr Rifi.
I don't know whether he's in Australia or whether he's overseas.
Between 2013 and 2017, 40 Australian ISIS fighters, wives and children returned independently. And in 2019, the Morrison government returned 7 ISIS orphans and a pregnant 16-year-old. In 2022, the Albanese government brought back 4 women and 13 children. And 7 News has learned 13 Australian-born ISIS fighters are among hundreds now being transferred out of Syrian prisons and across the border into Iraq, where they'll be held and interrogated in heavily fortified detention by US-led forces. The fighters are seen here being corralled in Syria before being moved in a covert US operation. This Iraqi government document recording among them the 13 Australian ISIS terrorists.
Those fighters were locked up and are still locked up.
And likely to remain locked up for a long time. Mark Riley, 7 News.
A suspicious package has forced some of Australia's top defence figures to evacuate a Canberra conference. The alert came while the Defence Industry Minister was giving an address.
Unfortunately, we just need you to depart and come over with your CPP team, and everyone else will just need to leave the area.
OK. My apologies, everyone.
There was another scare at the same venue when a rock was thrown into a window after former Defence Minister Christopher Pyne spoke. The Federal Police bomb squad was called in, but it's thought the rock was thrown by children on bikes.
Officially, wages are up, but in reality, Australian workers have been served a pay cut. New figures out today reveal annual pay rose by 3.4% in the year to December 2025, but that growth was outstripped by inflation, up 3.8% in the same period.
That's a good, strong and sustainable number, but with inflation higher than we'd like, obviously that has implications for real wages.
The Treasurer insists wages have been trending positively overall.
Overseas, and the search for missing American grandmother Nancy Guthrie has hit another snag. DNA testing on a glove found around 3 kilometres from her home doesn't match any of the profiles on a national database. It's now been 18 days since the 84-year-old mother of TV host Savannah Guthrie was taken from her Arizona home, and no arrests have been made.
A giant of the civil rights movement in the United States, Reverend Jesse Jackson, has passed away.
He once stood alongside Martin Luther King Jr. fighting to keep his dream alive and paved the way for Obama to become America's first black president.
The 84-year-old's being remembered tonight for his tireless commitment to justice and equality.
A captivating speaker.
Keep hope alive! Keep hope alive!
The voice of the marginalised and the disenfranchised. Jesse Jackson, the young protege of Martin Luther King Jr., who was by his side when he was gunned down.
Police were coming from the direction of the shot. They had been lined up along the streets.
Jackson kept up King's fight, advocating for minorities' voting rights, job opportunities, education and health.
I may be poor, but I am somebody.
He launched 2 bids for president, his 1984 campaign, the first time a major party had an African-American contender. He didn't win the Democratic nomination, but came close in 1988.
My right and my privilege to stand here before you has been won in my lifetime by the blood and the sweat of the innocent.
2 decades later, America elected Barack Obama, its first black president. From the Obamas today, we stood on his shoulders. Reverend Jackson created opportunities for generations of African Americans. He laid the foundation for my own campaign to the highest office of the land. From the current US president, I knew him well. Long before becoming president, he was a good man with lots of personality, grit and street smarts. Jackson passed away peacefully after dedicating his life to keeping hope alive.
Our flag is red, white and blue, but our nation is rainbow. Red, yellow, brown, black and white. We're all precious in God's sight.
In the United States, Miley Hogan, 7 News.